Today is May 10th, 2025. I'm up here what used to be the former Iron Gate Reservoir, just above the previous dam. This would be the new Klamath River. Today's a nice, clear, beautiful day. Not much for clouds in the sky, so I figured today is a good day to come up to kind of see what everything looks like in the sunshine. We're supposed to get rain again tomorrow, which would be Sunday afternoon and Monday. We've had a warm weather week. We've been in the 80s. I think yesterday was our warmest day of like 88, 87, somewhere around there. We're supposed to cool off again next week into the 50s and 60s, and then I think we're supposed to warm up again by next weekend to the 70s. And this is part of the area where they have reseeded. You can tell where they seeded and what is naturally growing here. And I'll give you an example of that. That area right there is kind of a good example. You can see that region right there is what's naturally growing here. What it looked like before they did the plantings. Then you can see right below all those trees, there's a fence line down there, and that's about the region where they started planting. You can see there's poppies down in there. They're kind of blooming today. They're open with the sun. So down in the footprint there, that's what's been seeded. And you can see the difference over there as well. That rock line, kind of where the bottom of the trees are, is where the lake was. And if you look up above, that's what the grasses look like above where they seeded. From here I can visually see the contrast, the lighter green versus the darker green that was planted. I'm assuming the yellow, it's hard to tell, it might be the fiddleneck. That was the sticker I was talking about before. But everything's definitely blooming up here. I saw some of the pretty natural wildflowers on my drive up here. Let's see if I can't zoom in more on the Klamath River. Sorry if it's shaky when I zoom in. It's not as stable. So you can see where I'm at. And I can't remember what that drainage is called. I'll have to look that one up again. I did look it up, but I can't remember what it's called now. But that's where the former Iron Gate Reservoir also used to go up into. You can see up there like where those dead trees are. That was kind of like the edges of the former lake. Once again, you can see the natural vegetation up above. Where the lake line was, there's kind of a little crossing path there. And then you can see where they seeded down below. Like I said, it's a beautiful day today. And in the background, that would be like the Willow Creek area. And then we kind of go on to Goose Nest, which is actually farther down that direction. So you can see our mountains still have some snow on them. I know there's a old wives' tale that once the snow is gone off a Goose Nest, that's the time to plant your gardens and vegetables for the summer. That area that we're looking at right there is part of like the construction area. Up and around that bend, you can't see it from here. But that's kind of where their work site was. It's kind of easier to see stuff during the day when the sun is out. can hear birds up here. There's some sort of bees, I think, flying around. I can hear them. Can't tell you what's flying around down there. I can't really tell that far, but I don't see much flying, at least bigger birds flying down in that area. So anyways, I'm gonna pause it and go on around the bend. This is kind of what it's looking like from this area. So I come down the road just a little bit further. So that's looking down around the bend. Around that bend would have been where the dam was. Like I said, up in that region, I think that they were doing some work. And I can kind of see the building if you look up in there. That's where they had all their equipment stored in that fenced in area when the bigger machinery was here working and taking out the dams. Sorry if it's a little shaky when I zoom in. And that road that you can kind of see there coming up and out, that's the road that they used to go in to take the dam out. And they would loop around. You can kind of see the road over there. So anyways, that's where the construction site was. I'll zoom in so you can kind of see what it's looking like down there on the river. Sorry, the breeze is coming up a little bit. I'll try to block it out some if I can. And all that wood debris that you see on that bench is what came down when they did the big release from Upper Klamath Lake earlier in the year. So that's what it's looking like up here. Like I said, you can see where they planted, and it's actually open today with the sun out. I'm assuming that must be the yellow, must be the fiddleneck sticker that they planted. The orange would be the poppies. You can kind of see up there to the edge where they planted. And this would be right below me. You can see the fence line there. So you can see this would be the natural vegetation. Beyond that fence is what they've planted. Where they've seeded, I think that they've seeded this area at least 2 times, could be more than that, but I'm aware of at least twice. But things are blooming. I can't tell you if there's any bees down there because I can't go down there. They have it fenced off, and it's a pretty steep little jaunt down the mountainside here. You can see there's some white top. But this kind of gives everybody an idea what it's looking like up here when you can actually see with the sun out. don't know if you can see those nice purple flowers right there. I've been seeing those a lot. Those are native. Those grow all over up here. I've seen them everywhere. Sorry if you can't see what else I'm looking at. And that whole region used to be part of Iron Gate Lake. And the edge would have been more up there by where those dead bushes are. So anyways, this is what it's looking like up here today. I'm not going any further. I got a late start today. But this is what it's looking like today. I figured we have a better vantage point with the sun out and we can see things a little bit better. Some butterflies flying around up here. But just so you guys know, I'm quite a ways away from the river from up here where I video from. I think you can kind of see that. This is where the road is. So those that ask if there's any bugs or anything flying down by the river, there's a lot of areas that I don't have access to. So I can't tell you what's really on the river down there. I just go where I can easily walk by Klamath and the Iron Gate boat launch. All I can tell you as far as critters and animals is what I can see visually up here from my vantage point. So anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I am off to my next stop.